All right, ladies and gentlemen, we might just be live. You never know. There's a lot going on. A lot could go wrong, but here we are. I am making a commitment to you to attempt to go live almost every day this week with the Backstage with Vocab Malone. Almost every day this week, I'm going to attempt to go live. Now, that's going to be tricky, but I'm going to do my best to pull it off. And with your encouragement and support, I'll do it. And then if I can get a couple good days in going live with Backstage behind the scenes commentary this week, and it seems to be successful, and you guys are digging it, then we'll look at maybe the next week. We'll just have to play it by ear, as they say. So I didn't give you guys much advance notice, but you're now going to know that almost every day this week, I'm going to go live. And so you've got, hey, Scott Harper watching from Scotland, right on. Christian by choice, good. I'm glad you're with that. Libertas et veritas muta milk. Yeah, it's a good thing to call it. Hey, Julie, thank you. Great job, dude. Right back at you. You know, I was talking to someone today, and they said their kids had questions about the video series, and they said they were able to answer them left and right. And the person said, you know, I didn't realize how much information you give her those. I was able to answer all my kids' questions about the videos. I thought that was kind of funny. Well, hey, guys, I want to know if the sound is okay. And I also want to know if you can see me fine. I think you can. I know that the microphone's in my mouth. It doesn't really bother me. It shouldn't bother you. Look. But, you know, here, let me put it down just a tad. But I don't have a perfect setup. I'm working on that. You know, that's part of this, all this thing going on. I am going to have a couple surprises during this broadcast. So you definitely want to stick around for that. You'll see what I mean. All right, so let's find what we're going to be watching today, because I'm tempted to just get right into it. You guys ready? Let's begin the commentary. Backstage of Vocab Malone, please share this video. We are beginning right about now. I have so much joy for Allah now in my heart. Hold up. Join me. I want to go in order. My bad, people. My bad. That was day 19. We need to be on day 18. Please excuse me. All right, here we go. Backstage commentary with Vocab Malone, day 18. Time. Praying is better than burning. Living is better than dying. So fajing is better than being burnt and stuff by Allah. All right, why did I say that? Why did I say that faja is better than getting burnt? Which you guys couldn't see the screen on that, could you? Because well, I'll play it again with the sound low. So we're back to waking people up for Fajr prayer here on day 18. And you can tell that I'm a lot more serious. Remember, I've had to go through a lot so far, but I don't know what's coming up next. It's going to get worse. And so, you know, I'm waking them up. Better than burning. Living is better than dying. So fajing is better than being burnt and stuff by Allah. I say that because there's verses and Hadith sources that talk about getting burnt in hellfire if you don't do your morning prayer. So here David is the zealous one, always pushing us to do stuff. I like the way the scene starts where it's like we lean in on each other, like the confrontation begins.
Problem here again. What's the problem? Well, once again, it's you. Every time it's either you or it's Jamal. You or Jamal.
Are you sure it's not Jamal? So you know what's funny about this? The way it works is we have the basic scene set up, but not everything is scripted. So this wasn't really scripted in any proper way. You know, we just had a general idea of what we were going to say. So we're like acting in the moment. You know, I'm reacting to what he's saying because he didn't tell me exactly what he's going to say because he didn't know. And same thing with me. Hold on. Someone's at the door. I'm going to play this and I'll be back.
What's wrong? A little boy keeps walking around this house like he's your son, when he's not your son. He's adopted, and that is forbidden in Islam. What part is forbidden in Islam? Adoption. You gotta be wrong. There's no way that God, the creator of the universe, who we are now following, Allah, who is most merciful and compassionate, there's no way.
So the reason I say that is because that's what Muslims say, of course, about Allah. He's most merciful and compassionate, right? That's one of his actually 99 names. There's 99 names of Allah that Muslims traditionally ascribe to, and it's a common refrain you hear in liturgy as well as in the Quran, right? You know, most merciful and compassionate. So I'm saying that, and then I'm saying, well, adoption is merciful and compassionate. So how could Allah forbid a practice such as, you know, adoption? That wouldn't make sense. And of course, Dennis is going to set me straight.
Say something like adoption is the most compassionate practice a parent can do is wrong. Only one way to find out, isn't there?
So apparently, you know, Dennis already knows in advance is the idea. The idea is he's the most zealous of us all. He's constantly studying even when we're not around. He's the one constantly enforcing the rules. Jamal's pretty much will do whatever and is sort of the follower, you know, and just wants to have fun. My character is the guy who is the least likely to go along. I'm supposed to, I'm not necessarily smart. My character's not the brightest. Dennis, his character is probably the smartest out of all of us. He's clearly the Mo of the situation. But my character, he still has a heart. He has compassion, you know, for animals, for children. And so this is all little by little. He's kind of peer pressured into it and kind of thinking, well, if that's really what it says, okay. But each step is a difficult challenge. And even though it's satirical, imagine real Muslims going through this, because this is the process of radicalization.
Backpack. What does Allah say about adoption? Well, looky what we have here. It's the Quran.
So a lot of what we've been doing out of the series, of course, has come out of the Hadith. Usually Bukhari and Al-Muslim, which are the two, you know, most certain Hadith, right? This one, though, at least the beginning of it, is from the Quran itself. You can see it right there on your screen. And there's actually a whole book about this. Let me actually go grab it.
Nor has he made your adopted sons your real sons. That is what you're saying with your mouths. But Allah says the truth, and he guides to the right way. Next verse. Call them, your adopted sons, by the names of their fathers, their real fathers, i.e. not you. That is more just with Allah. But if you know not their fathers' names, call them your brothers in faith. Call them your brothers in faith. You can call him your brother in faith if he's your fellow Muslim, but you do not call him your son because he is not your son. Muhammad had an adopted son named Zayd. Allah told him, get rid of that adopted son, call him by his real dad's name. You're not his real dad, and he had to declare him no longer his son. Boom! That's what's going on there? Exactly. Are you sure? I'm positive. How do you know? Because that's what the Muslim sources say, and that's what Allah says in the Holy Quran.
Okay, hold on, guys. Real quick, we'll go back to that. So, for a second, I didn't see it on the bookshelf, and I was wondering if when Sam Shamoon came over, he stole one of my books. He's been known to do that. So there's a book called, now it's going to be backwards for you, Muhammad is not the father of any of your men. The Making of the Last Prophet, David S. Powers. Kind of an expensive book, but a very academic book that gets into Islam. It's really good. Has some pictures, actually, of manuscripts in the middle of Quranic manuscripts, so it gets into some textual criticism. Really good, but a lot of it deals with this verse, and it leads into all kinds of things dealing with textual criticism in the Quran, and it's really dope. So if you're going to get kind of more academic study about Quranic studies that deals with this verse, Muhammad is not the father of any of your men. That's what we keep on quoting there. And here's what's interesting about the Quran. Let's just think for a second. Alexa, turn volume down to 3. I got my background music on. So, David appears right when someone compliments him. Someone asked me, "Do you not like David Wood? You always talk bad about him in your videos." That's because you people are constantly riding him and sweating him. He needs someone to bring him back down to earth that doesn't think he's so great and fantastic. He happens to show up right when someone compliments him, of course. This guy. But here's what's up. Here's what's up. Now I got distracted. Oh, if you read this Quranic passage by itself, it's some kind of narrative section with a ruling at the end of it. But it's not exactly clear the background of the story, really. That's why the Hadith are so necessary. You can't even make heads or tails of a lot of the Quran without the Hadith. And so that's why Muslims have usually understood that you've got to have the Hadith. And then there's this big process of which Hadith to have. Some people even think which Hadith you include and all that actually is more important than almost any other factor in what kind of Islam you practice and how you view them, because it relates to how you interpret the Quran. So it's a big deal. And this is a perfect example. Now, that's not the point of the skit. That's not the point of this broadcast or anything, but I'm just saying you can see that without the background information with this verse about Muhammad's adopted son and soon-to-be wife, that it doesn't make any sense. So it's important. Now, let's go back to this as he's reading this. This passage is important because it relates to a whole lot of things within Islam. The abolition of adoption, of course, is one of them. And, of course, also relates to textual criticism, as I mentioned already.
Go for my son, for my brother. He's your brother if he is a Muslim. Is he a Muslim? I think so. Well, you can find out. But either way, you have to cast him out. Doesn't always cast him out. Doesn't always cast him out. That's why I have to adopt him. Cast him out of the house. So you first had to kill my dog, Mr. Scruffles. And now you want me to get rid of my son, or whatever you want to call him, Marco.
My bad. I'm trying to look for an article for you guys. I was searching something while I'm watching this. I forgot I'm sharing my screen, so that was all up in your face. But it's funny. Someone left a comment, and they're like, "Hey, Giovanni, Dennis didn't make you kill your dog. He killed your dog for you because he's one halal of a guy." That's a pretty funny joke, actually, that someone said. You guys get it? Now, we're going to show this in a second here. And there's people who are like, oh, this is an exaggeration. This isn't true. This isn't right. Well, I was going to bring up some articles, but yeah, you can see them. There's a whole bunch. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of articles here. And what are they on? You hear story after story about Christian couples in Middle Eastern countries who want to adopt. Okay, not story after story, but I've heard story after story. I look into these things, especially like in Saudi and Egypt are the two main places I've heard it about. And what happens there, the Christian couples aren't allowed to adopt or sometimes even do foster care, is my understanding, in these places because they're not Muslim and because of the issues with adoption. It's a whole mess. They won't let Christians do it, but the Christians don't have a problem with it. And so, people are like, well, you didn't have to kick them out of the house. Spoiler alert, if you haven't seen this. But what in essence happened is this kind of thing because of what this ruling, for no good reason, makes happen. I'm going to explain more about this in a second here.
It's Allah. Cast him out. Cast him out.
So see, I look at the Quran. He's doing the chant.
Who do you love more, Allah or Marco?
I'm thinking about it. Now I'm getting into it. Cast him out. Cast him out. Huh. Cast him out. Huh. Cast him out. Huh. All right, so what's going on there? Well, obviously, I get into the moment of it. I'm getting into it there. And let me see what's everyone saying in the comments here. This always, I don't know if this is good for the broadcast or bad, because I'm trying to hey, what's up from Germany? Down a dead. Good to hear. Good to hear you from Germany. Yeah, Jamal's too busy with his lobster situation. Yes, David Wood is the rapper. He's a Renaissance man and an idiot as well. You will see Halal Hogan again. In fact, we have a bunch of new footage that has been filmed recently for something else in the future by popular demand. So it's going to get real hectic. David has crazy skills that no one knows about, he says. Yes, such as annoying people. Yep. Okay. Learning a lot. Sorry, David should have a star on Hollywood Boulevard. I think he already has one imprinted on the cement of his brain. So just chill with all that there, Brian. Yeah, okay. Well, there's a few things. Some people were saying, well, the sources don't say you got to cast him out. They just say don't call him by his father's name. Well, let's talk about this for a second. Number one, if someone's not your son or adopted, it's less, your obligation to them is weakened, first of all. So it lessens the ties that you would otherwise have with a process of adoption. Number two, formal process isn't allowed. So it would result, I think, in basically more orphans in essence because of the abolition of adoption in Islamic countries. So we're sort of doing a miniaturized version of that reality. And they don't let Christians adopt straight up. And they'll even take kids that they deem Muslim kids out of Christian homes in some of these countries, from what I've heard about, such as Egypt and Saudi. Now, let's say that a situation was repeated here and you had someone living with you that wasn't your adopted son, but he was living. Well, why would he be living with you if he's not your son? Because then you get into issues of what he's allowed to see or not see in regarding to the women of the house, because he's not a family member, right? So it'd be very difficult and awkward to have him there. Although then that's where the breastfeeding could come in, I guess. But you see all the mess of problems it creates. And what if you did have someone say you were taken care of, and let's say they got married, and then, you wanted to marry their wife. I mean, let's say you ended up marrying their wife. It seems like at that point you'd have to cast him out. I mean, I guess he'd be older by then. But then again, if it's Islamic, not really. I mean, I'm just saying, you guys understand this is satire, but we're showing an element of truth to it anyway. I don't know if, David, you want to comment. You're in the comment section. But nonetheless, do you see the cold-heartedness of this? And for what? For lust. And if you really want to get a taste of this, go through the comment sections on this video. Oh, the video's been re-uploaded a few times. Okay, in the original upload of this, I don't know if it's there now, there were some Muslims commenting, saying things like, why would you want to have those dirty orphans in your house that could grow up and impregnate your wife? I'm not exaggerating. I'm not joking. There was comments. That's one I'm paraphrasing that was in there, but that's almost verbatim. I showed it to a friend, and there was comments like that. They weren't the majority. Most of the people watching this, it seems to be your supporters or people keeping quiet because you can't really disagree with the sources. But nonetheless, there it is. And, when I first heard about this, I almost didn't believe it until I looked into it myself, because I first heard about this from Sam and David. And in fact, on my channel, there's a show that's called Vader Was a Better Dad Than Muhammad. It has a picture of Darth Vader like this, and it has that greater sign pointing to him. And there's a punchline joke that David makes in that episode. It's an interview I did, actually almost when I first met David and Sam. And it's a great interview. I'm going to try to link that in the description box or something, because that's a discussion you hear. It goes into this story in detail. But now let's continue with this. Now, somebody asked, Who is that kid? Does he understand what's going on? Yes, that is one of my sons. Does he understand what's going on? Yes, he is old enough to understand what's going on. He knew what was going on. And guess what? The dude had a blast making this. He just killed it on the acting tip. And he made $40. So I'm going to tell you more about that in a little bit. But let's watch this.
Marco, you probably think you're about to go on a trip, and maybe you're kind of excited because I told you to get all your stuff. And you are going to go on a trip, a very long trip, but it'll be by yourself. And you probably wondered why I called you to gather your stuff together and get Mr. Puffy and Mr. Stuffy. It's because I love Allah.
Okay, so here's what happened. This also was not scripted. This whole little scene with myself, and see, you know what I've got going on here is I've got my name going on, Giovanni Marco. See, because my real name, I don't want you guys calling me it or anything like that. But most people know my real name is John Mark, right? So let me explain to you what I mean by that, okay? Check this out. See, wait, I can't. How do I do this? I'm trying to do something here. All right, let's do this. Come on. Guys, I'm trying to do something. I think it's cool if I can just get it. See, there's that. And then, see, we got Giovanni and we got Marco. Why is that? Because that's my Italian name. You see what I'm saying? My name's John Mark. So there's Giovanni and Marco. That's why we did it that way. That's why I did it that way. So there's the names. So anyways, by the way, you notice down here is G.I. Joe Retaliation and Star Wars. If you zoomed in on it, you might be able to see it, I think, in the Blu-ray, in the DVD. I don't know if that's haram, but there's some tape for electrical tape too. We missed some stuff. We always do. I mean, but then again, why couldn't you have tape? You could be doing all kinds of stuff with that tape there. There's a Quran, there's some tape, there's some of my DVDs. Someone zoom in and tell me what those are. I think it's Star Wars and G.I. Joe down there. But anyways, fun stuff in the shot. So anyways, I'm speaking with him, and we made up the names Mr. Puffy and Mr. Stuffy on the spot, and I told him, hey, buddy, grab your backpack, your cute little backpack, dress like you're going to church, because I want you to look real cute here. And he killed it. He did a great job. And then I told him, hey, you go ahead and dress nice, comb your hair, and have these animals sticking out of your backpack. I'll name them on the spot. And then we're gonna have a little discussion. But the discussion wasn't like pre-planned or anything. And the line that made everybody start laughing is when I said, I've called you down here because I love Allah. The first time I did it, people were like laughing, so we had to redo the take again. So I'm going to play this. Before I do, shout out to the super chatters, LeBron, G Consciousness, everybody. Check out his YouTube channel. G Con does a really good job against proponents of evolution, as well as Hebrew Israelites, and also a great job with the conscious and Kemetic community, the Egyptologists, and even atheists. And so shout out to my man, G-Con LeBron. Congrats. He had some pretty awesome stuff happen recently in his life. Shout out to him. Check out his YouTube channel. Subscribe to it. And hey, man, thanks. And Shalom Ak, right back at you. Oh, and also 8-Bit Templar, another super chatter. Thank you so much. When you super chat, it helps support the channel, and I will read your question. I'll pause whatever I'm doing. Why aren't you guys saying peace be upon him whenever you mention Muhammad? Is that a future episode, or did you forget? I think the general idea, 8-Bit Templar, is that we don't know everything with our characters don't. And so we're learning stuff little by little. And so we've uncovered some stuff, but not other stuff. But honestly, I think on a practical level, I don't think we really wanted to write it in where we were doing that every time, because I think it would have got irritating to us, and we didn't want to seem like we were actually being honorific towards Muhammad in real life. And I just don't think that's the kind of thing we would include, because it's not really comedic, but it's like saying it all the time would get irritating in a series. So we just never really even thought to include it, to be honest. Although, yes, you're right, it would make it more realistic and stuff like that. But again, shout out to G-Con, shout out to 8-Bit Templar. Thank you guys very much. All right, now, It is time. I'm going to read these questions later. G Will, that means that G-Con gave 20 and that 8-Bit Templar gave 5 towards the channel. That's what that means. That's why it says that. So those are people who help support the channel. All right, let's play this and get on with it here. People, what's going on? Why doesn't it let me do it? Oh, come on. Oh, I know why. Okay, here we go.
You probably think you're about to go on a trip, and maybe you're kind of excited because I told you to get all your stuff. And you are going to go on a trip, a very long trip, but it'll be by yourself. And you probably wondered why I called you to gather your stuff together and get Mr. Puffy and Mr. Stuffy.
So in our house, we had Mr. Puffy, Mr. Stuffy, Mr. Scruffles, but not for long. Look at Mike, my son. Just his whole face when he was doing this. You can tell he's in it. He's like enjoying it. I mean, look at this. He's like, he killed it with a little sad expectation face. This scene was hard to shoot because he was so cute. He was so sad. I mean, not really. He was faking, but he did quite the acting job.
It's because I love Allah. See, Allah told Muhammad. Remember Muhammad? I told you about him, the greatest man. See, he had a son who he adopted. That was wrong to do. You know why? Because Muhammad wanted to marry this man's wife. Now, let's say you grow up one day and you have a wife, and I want to marry her, and I can't because you're my son. How do you think that would make me feel? Now, listen, I have to listen to Allah. Surah 33.
And so I think that's pretty funny too, right? What if you grow up one day and you have a wife and I want to marry her? How do you think that would make me feel? Like, it's so incredibly selfish when you put it that way. But here's what's crazy. That's exactly what Muhammad did to his son. That's exactly what he did. This son was adopted. This was his son. Then one day he went over to the house to speak with Zaid, and he wasn't there. And he saw Zaid's wife partially uncovered. I don't really know the details of how. It says she got up quickly or something like that. And he saw her and his heart fluttered. And he said something like, oh, well, Allah has blessed me. He's made such awesome creatures or something like that. So she got the idea, oh, Muhammad fancies me, right? So she told him, and that created problems in their marriage because, you know, she's like, well, the prophet, the dude in charge is feeling me. And he's kind of, you know, like, and now Muslim apologists say they already having problems in their marriage, et cetera, you know, but whatever. It's obviously just a messed up thing. He says, oh, no, I'm not going to do anything. But then Allah comes back, shows you with the revelation because the man offers the woman to him. And then, you know, he says, well, actually, I got to because Allah said it's all good. So anyways, G-Con says I look Islamic for real. You know, G-Con, on this scene, I'm kind of going in and out of an accent a little bit. And so I was like really getting into it. And it's hard not to speak with a mild accent. And someone's like, oh, he called Muhammad Tim. Because I said, remember I told you about Tim? I'm not saying Tim, by the way. I'm saying like I told you about Tim. So anyways, it's just my little fake accent I'm sort of adopting there as well. Adopting, pun intended. Man, there's a lot of questions. I'll get to some of these, but who wrote the script for the Islamicize Me videos? Jamal Williams asked. Most of the scripts David wrote. John McCrae had a hand in few, and then the other large majority of the other part, second to David, would be myself as far as who wrote them. But we did not have scripts for everything. So a lot of stuff is improv, like the scene is improv. Now, let me also mention the earlier scripts, David had more written out. And then there was a lot of improv. And towards the end, I wrote more of them because that's when it was kind of getting overwhelming. And so we kind of just all played our role and made it happen. Nicole Hernandez says your son is the best actor in the series. Oh, well, why are you throwing shade? Just kidding. You don't have to lift one up by putting others down, Nicole. I'm just kidding. No, he did a great job. Okay, everyone getting ready to cry because it's kind of sad.
4 and 5 tells me that none of these men were supposed to call Muhammad father. So Muhammad's not the father of any of these men, and neither am I. So because of that, I no longer call you son, but I do tell you to get out of my house.
Now, some of you are like, oh my gosh, the little boy's crying. He's crying so much. Well, I used to wear contact lenses, right? And they make for good tears. So what we do, we just dumped his face with contact lens solution. So it's all over his face. But man, he killed it. Look at that sad little face. It's going to make you cry right now. But again, he was laughing when he was doing this. He's a ham. He had a good old time. In fact, guess what? This same little cute actor is also going to be in Islamicize Me. He's going to, I'm sorry, not Islamicize Me. What's wrong with me? He's also going to be in a future video we did where we have a little fun. Check out his little tears here. We have a little fun with Pulpit and Pin because they always go after everyone else. So we kind of go after them a little bit. And in the Pulpit and Pin videos, this little cute actor also makes an appearance in that and does a great job as well. His brothers are going to make a cameo later, but he has a starring role. So let's continue on. He's got his head down. He got his little Star Wars back. He got his little Star Wars thing, you know, his little Star Wars. I love that. I'm going to show you guys something. I got a great Easter egg for you guys. Are you guys ready for this? Don't go anywhere. I got some Easter eggs for you. I'm going to replay this. But I do tell you to get out. Look, we made a mistake. Okay, David probably doesn't want me to show this stuff, but you know what? It is what it is. Look at this. You guys see this? That's Han Solo. That's a picture of Han Solo. That's an art piece I have in my living room. We forgot to cover it up with the ISIS flag there. When you see the ISIS flag up, a lot of times it's covering something. So it's blurred out, but we messed up. That's a Han Solo picture. Wah, wah, wah. Here we go. Okay. You guys ready for a giant Easter egg? Watch this. See that? What is that, everybody? That's a broken screen door. That's missing glass. Why is the glass missing, everyone? Well, because in one of the takes of our fight with Ho Dilla the Pimp, I ended up under his legs somehow and got stepped and smashed against the glass. And the moment I fell on the way down, I heard this. And it's like that unhealthy cracking glass kind of sound where you know something bad happened. And everyone was worried because you know how you don't feel stuff at first. Like, did glass straight up go through my thigh or through my hip or through my leg? Because I was in a position where it could have went like this, broke off into me. Like, I'm not even joking. We were like straight up praising God afterwards, after this fight, because it could have happened, but it didn't. But that's that right there. And it's still not fixed. David was all like, oh, that's easy to fix. Just do this. I'm not a handyman, okay? I'm an artist, everybody. I'm not a handyman. So it's not easy to fix. Nothing's easy to fix for me because I'm dumb in that way, okay? I study apologetics. I don't study glass doors. I mean, I guess it probably is easy, but also I procrastinate because I don't, it's like, irritating, you know? But anyways, there it is. And it's a big giant hole. And so whatever. Okay. So look at this little cute little backpack there.
I now call you a son of the road.
Now, I told him, go outside, but don't have your shoes on, because he had his shoes and socks on. And so that was, I essentially directed this scene. David was doing something else. Now, the cameramen are the cameramen. I don't have an eye for that. So they knew how to do all that, like the close-ups of the feet and everything. Obviously, that's a cameraman. But like, I was kind of directing my son. They say never work with kids and animals in Hollywood. I worked with both Mr. Scruffles and Marco. Call me Ron Howard. No, don't call me Ron Howard. Solo's failing at the box office. Never mind. Sorry. The way he said that, he did it perfect. Every take, he did it perfect. When he says, Daddy, can I get my shoes? And a couple other takes, I said, you know, there's no time, no, whatever. But it shows like I'm just done with him. And he does it perfectly. Listen to this. That is perfect. By the way, if you remember the urine scene, notice this is where John peed. Remember when John peed back in the day? There's that fence where he peed. Here we go.
Oh, there's no one named Daddy here. Sorry.
So originally it showed me, but they had a better idea of showing a close-up of his face on the scene. So he just looks so sad with his goggle glasses. Watch this.
Oh, there's no one named Daddy here.
Shut the door on him. There's no one named Daddy here. Sorry. Another Easter egg. Look at this. What is wrong with us? Look at this. That's a light. That's a light. It's got a bag over it. Look at the cord is there and everything. We were using that earlier, and so we had a light, and now we didn't. You see what I'm saying? It shouldn't have been in the shot. Hey, we're not perfect, guys. You know, whatever. But it's just kind of funny. The way I shut the door and the sound it makes is just pretty funny, right? Can I get my shoes? Oh, there's no one named Daddy here. Just totally cold-hearted. It was almost hard to do this scene because it's so sad.
I now call you a son of the road.
By the way, that's a real thing in Middle Eastern terms. In fact, sometimes I'm witnessing the Muslims when they like think Jesus is supposed to be a literal son of God. Sometimes we'll explain that son doesn't have to mean some physical offspring, and we use a Middle Eastern expression, which is son of the road, sometimes to help get that point of across, to say, does that mean the road had an offspring? And it's explaining that. Now, that's not identical, of course, to the relationship to Trinitarian nation, relationship between the Son and the Father, and of course the Spirit. But to just explain, it doesn't have to be some physical, literal offspring is the whole point by that analogy when we say son of the road. So most folks will know that. So I'm using that there.
Oh, there's no one named Daddy here. Sorry.
His little cute feet. Who told him to cross his feet? I don't even actually know. It's so cute, though. He's got his little toe in there. I think it was mildly cold outside. And the music David chose is like the saddest thing. I almost cried when I watched this the first time. Why is he moving his feet? It's so cute. What? Close up. He's like thinking about what happened in his life. What did I do wrong? You know? And then he goes off into the distance. How sad is that? We got to watch it just one more time without the music. Okay, guys. But yo, you know, we've got a lot of gross out stuff in here. We've got a lot of absurd stuff in here. This is dark humor in a way. I see Jesse Knight mentioning that, and it's true. However, you know, I'm sorry. This was really trying to pull at the heartstrings. It's more of a sad episode. So there's a lot of different emotions you'll experience in Islamicize Me, including maybe sometimes even anger, you know, multiple things. But really, ultimately, it's educational. But we're trying to get you engaged along the way. Someone says, Mackenzie says, does he use this face to get an extra scoop of ice cream at dessert time? That's funny. That's funny. Yes, he does try to do stuff like that, Mackenzie, but I have a constant refrain with him, which is no manipulation. We don't allow manipulation to get our way. You have to ask properly and directly, and then you can get a yes or no answer, but don't use manipulation. So he knows about that. But yeah, he would try to do that. Let me see here. I'm looking at some of the comments. What aren't you paying, Vocab? Oh, Mr. Ed.
You already know I can't have any more pictures. Because if I have pictures, an angel will not enter to the house. So, no pictures. So you might be wondering, what's this?
That is how cold-hearted Vocab is for real. So natural. I'm just looking at the comments. So I did this actually after they had all left. So you're watching this. I think I did this the night after I dropped David off at the airport, right? Or after he left. I think he had a rental, so I don't think I dropped him off. Whatever it was. Sometimes the chronology starts to really get blended together in my mind because we were doing so much, and by the end we were all out of it. I don't even know what was happening. But I do know after David and John left, I went back and shot this by myself before I shaved off my little scruff there. So I was all by myself when I did this, and it's just not the same level of energy or anything when you do it by yourself. And then you don't know exactly what's good because you don't have them to bounce ideas off you and all that. And it was just me and my laptop. So it definitely is not the same without the squad in the house. I'll say that. It's just not the same. But I think it worked out overall. You know, it shows I'm sad about it. I'm kind of regretting the decision. A lot of people say they think my character is going to become an apostate, but as you can probably tell by this picture, I'll just give you an Easter egg. That's not what's going to happen to my character. It's actually kind of different. What it is, you know, this is like everything gets ripped away. And this is actually what happens in cults and stuff. Every other attachments get ripped away. And it's almost like Muhammad, Islam, the Quran, that becomes your thing and the friends that you have with you and sort of your little clique or your cell. So Yeah. Okay, so we've done one. Do you guys want me to do the other one, or have we gone too long? Let me know what you think right now. Let me see how long we've gone here. What do you guys think? Let me see here, because I try to keep these within a certain time frame. Greg Olson, are you making the way I say pictures? My sister and my sister's kids make fun of me for that too. I still don't know how to say it any other way. Man, these comments are funny. David does like to actually not wear shoes a lot. One time I didn't have shoes on too, but then John and David started making fun of me because my feet, especially my right foot, isn't exactly pretty. And I try to work on it, but it's just not a very pretty foot. So they're making fun of me, like, what is wrong with your foot, right? So I don't wear my shoes around in the house. All right, now with that, I'm going to make, before we start the next video, okay, I'll do the other one. I could see, I'll answer some questions too. All right, I got you, Dominic. It's all good. I think we'll do one more. Now check this out. Okay, check this out. I'm going to make one quick announcement just for you guys. That's not an announcement I announced that I was going to make. Now, that sounds a little confusing. With the encouragement, here's the announcement, everybody. Okay, you guys ready for this? With the encouragement of John McCrae and David Wood, they have been encouraging me actually for a long time, like a long time ago, and I'm just now finally listening to them, to get on Patreon. I haven't done it yet, but I'm telling you guys are like the true blue people who have been coming to the channel. We're kind of getting to know each other. I'm seeing your names. I'm seeing some of your avatars, running into some of you on other social media. You guys are becoming like the people. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to be going Patreon now. Patreon is a way to support the channel, support this work, to help it, and it makes us more self-sufficient. If John and myself can become more self-sufficient, then David doesn't have to just take all the Act 17 apologetics funds to make things happen, because as of now, he's kind of paying for everything, and it's about to break the bank. So we're trying to become more self-sufficient, not just rely on Daddy David. Now, within all that being said, although he's good, he tries to take care of his people. Within all that being said, I'm going to make an announcement later on today that's going to say major announcement. Tomorrow, I'm going to go live and explain to people I'm making the major announcement. But today I didn't. This is like a sneak preview. So just for you guys watching, I'm going to do something unexpected. I'm going to make my Patreon go live together, actually, as we speak. You see what I'm saying? So I'm going to find it real quick here. All right. I think this is it. You guys see the button? I think I've got everything set up. I think it's all ready. My Patreon is here. And I'm going to go live right here with you guys, okay? Last final preview. Once I hit this button where it says go live, it's going to start. So this is my Patreon, which means you could support. It has no supporters right now because it's never been live before. We're going to do this live, and then I'm going to announce it tomorrow, and then I'm going to start making changes to it as we go along. So we're going to do this together, everybody. And then I'll move on to the second video, okay? I just wanted to do this. I thought it'd be special. People have been asking me about it. Here we go. 3, 2. Let's start at 5. By the way, David just commented on Sam's toes. They are squishy and weird. In fact, if you go to my Facebook, my facebook.com/Vocab Malone, go to it. You'll see in it where I do a close-up of Sam's toes when we were doing this behind the scenes. I've got some when he was the imam, or the sheikh, however you want to call it. All right, so here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. All right. My Patreon page is live. Here's the video with David Wood and myself talking about it. You can join Vocab Street Apologist team, become part of the Rebel Squad, the Jedi Squad, the Master Squad, or Sith level, or the Ewok Squad, of course. So anyways, I'll talk more about this later, but the point of this is not to talk about this only. I actually thought you guys would like it because it's kind of a secret little thing that only you know right now. Nobody else knows. Let us move on to the second video. Let's do our behind the scenes commentary of the controversial breastfeeding video. You guys ready? Here we go.
I have so much joy for Allah now in my heart. Wake up, do your fajr, join me, and you can experience this joy too.
So, remember, I just lost a son who I obviously loved. So I come in speaking about the joy in my heart, right? And glare at the camera. You know, I got the book in my hand now. It's funny, I think. So David's really getting into it now. He's doing the Quran rocking thing where you rock while you read, and so much so he won't even answer the door.
Yo, my brothers, it's Lil Debbie.
So check this out. Check this out. When she first comes, like you can't see her, you know, because it's like watch this. Let's show this here. Wait, why isn't it doing it? Doom, 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 doom. I'm trying to draw on this for you guys, but it's not cooperating. Come on. Okay. Why are my drawing capabilities are having problems here? This is nonstop challenges, right? I want to draw on this. Please let me draw on this. Please let me draw. I want to draw. Someone explain to me why it's not letting me draw. Sharing is paused. Okay, here. All right, hold on. I'm going back to the video. Don't worry. We gotta do this thing, people. All right, look at her. You can barely even see her out there in the dark. I mean, that's straight up ninja status, isn't it? It's like when she first appears in the video, you can't even really see her, you know? I mean, she's got the full, you see a little bit down here, a little bit here, maybe a little bit there, and that's it. But of course, so I have a coffee cup and a backpack. The idea was, first of all, I was super tired, so I was drinking coffee nonstop. Second of all, the idea was like I was ready to go somewhere or something. That's why I happened to answer the door too. He's busy, you know, he's reciting. Notice he has his comb here. And someone tell me what this is. I don't know what that is in the shot. I don't know what that is. But let's continue on. Now, I wrote all this. David obviously adds little lines in the improv phase of it. But I wrote all this. Now, notice when she comes in, he's just like immersed in this. And I instructed her to have this certain kind of accent. We just couldn't decide if she was role playing or that's her real accent. We just never really made up a decision on that. We just thought it was funny to have her talk that way because there's comedic effect you can get from it, which we did. So she wants to convert. Now, listen to her reasoning. I'm going to explain something to you in a second here. Watch all this and notice it takes a while before Dennis pays attention. Watch all this. I'm going to break this down. So Major Muta, which is, remember what Dennis's character called her earlier when he's like Major Muta. He kind of looks like he's smiling there, doesn't he? Now watch what she says.
Convert Islam. You want to convert to Islam? You see the power of Islam.
So I'm like, hey, you want to convert to Islam, little Debbie? It's because you've seen the power of Islam. And she basically says, no, what I saw is you guys beat up Hodilla, my pimp. And then I don't think people caught this. She says, from now on, I only want to get beat by you. So apparently she was getting beat by her pimp before. And now what she's saying is, I only want to get beat by you guys because you guys are more powerful. So you could probably protect me from more people. You know, it's all three of us. So it's ridiculous. But because she saw the power, she wants to convert. But notice what she says is, no, I see you beat. Now I want you to beat. Oh, I only want to get beaten by you now. Watch.
I see power. You beat Hodilla. I only want beating from you.
Hear that? I only want beating from you. By the way, this is David's sunglasses down there in the shot. Now, notice that's when David pays attention, his character, Dennis. And this line right here became John's line. Now, I wrote this, and I didn't think it was that funny. I thought, because I started writing like his pimp character. By the way, real quick, David speaks like the pimp character whenever women are around. That's a concept with that. That whole, you don't say. That's like his pimp mode he adopts when women are around only, or they're being discussed, okay? That's the idea behind that. Now, once he started doing that, because that wasn't planned on my end, I was like, ooh, I can write to that. And so there's certain things that are funny for him to say in that way that wouldn't normally be funny, such as him standing up and looking and saying, you don't say. That becomes funny all of a sudden because of the way he does it. The whole rest of the series, you know what John McCrae kept on saying? Every time there was a break, just like one of the cameramen became enamored with, does somebody say pork? And kept on saying that the whole rest of the series. John McCrae, the rest of the series, kept on saying, you don't say. Watch. Here it is.
You don't say. It seems that you have seen the power of Al-Islam.
Here's what's funny about this. Watch the way David stands up, first of all. Like, so he has to grab the comb or the brush, and he has to put on the shades. But the way he moves the comb around is freaking hilarious. That's what makes the scene so great. Watch what he does with his little comb. It's funny. Watch this.
You don't say. It seems that you have seen the power of Al-Islam and that you are ready to recite the glorious Shahada. Repeat after me. La ilaha illallah. Muhammadur Rasulullah. Takbir. Allahu Akbar. Takbir. Allahu Akbar. Yo, guys, you got a problem.
Okay, now. So, first of all, the way she did this accent is super hilarious. It's just insane. Like, listen to what she says. She's all off key. She did a great job. Giselle did a fantastic job. Look at her little eyes. Her little eyes, the way she's looking at David. It's just so hilarious. Look. Why is it so funny? What? Why did she did a great job. Look at her little eyes. It's funny, man. Look. And then she's looking out at David with her little his comb. Look at his comb. It's so dumb, but it's awesome. He's all like pimp effect. You don't say. Everything's just funny. And then watch the way she looks at him and then repeats it. It's just, it's super funny. Okay. So, just listen to the vocalization of this. Again, she killed it. Look at the way he does Allahu Akbar when he's in pimp mode. And listen to her, what she's saying. This scene is hilarious. If you watch it again and again and again, it's super funny. You probably didn't catch it all. He's so ecstatic because of it. Now, I wrote this too, and we had different versions of it, right? And it's pretty bugged out because one of the versions said, well, now that we've all tasted Little Debbie's snack, or now that we've all had some of Little Debbie's treat. So there was actually a worse version kind of playing on the fact like Little Debbie's, there's like snack cakes. Because, we've all done muta with her, is what John is basically saying there. So, it's obviously PG-13, but it's still a funny point. Watch what he says.
Now that we've all had Little Debbie's snack, we all might be attracted to it. So what do we do?
So, real quick, I just do that. But again, Giselle, the way she did her eyes in every scene, it just is hilarious. Look. Am I the only one having fun? Is she looking at the camera? What's going on? It's funny all the time because it's all she has to act with. but she did a great job acting with just her eyes, right? So I kind of mess up. I don't say the word exactly right, but it's fine because sometimes that happens in real life. I forget. If you notice, I mess up a little bit. Is attracted. So now we're all sitting down, and here she is. She's completely covered. And again, let me show you something. Why doesn't David like to wear shoes? What's his? Look, you see what those are? Those are his like sandals, you know? This dude never wants to wear the shoes. He's got great shoes. They were expensive shoes. Why doesn't he want to wear them? He like loves to show off his white legs and feet. I guess he does have the best feet out of us all. I don't know. John McCrae might give him a run for his money. I come in last place. Sam wins for uniqueness, though. What am I even talking about? Oh, my goodness.
Magical backpack has blessed us with a variety of excellent resources to understand how we can be around our sister without being sexually attracted to her. Sahih Muslim, number 3600. It was narrated that Aisha said, Sahla bin Suhail came to the Prophet and said, O Messenger of Allah, I see signs of displeasure on the face of Abu Hudayfa when Saleh, who was his ally, comes in. The Prophet said, breastfeed him. She said, how can I breastfeed him? He is a grown man. The Messenger of Allah smiled and said, I know that he is a grown man.
Why did he?
Solution to a woman having to be around a man who is not a sexual partner with her was.
Why did Muhammad smile at that? Now, notice right when David says that, you know, Dennis says that, obviously our characters have a response that most normal women would. I mean, look at John's face here. His face is just so dumb. And he's just doing it so matter-of-factly. The Prophet's solution was to, and just watch the way he says it. But these faces are just the worst. Check it out. Yeah, I know the volume's a little low on when I replay it. Sorry. It's just how it is on there.
For her to breastfeed him over and over again so that he would feel like her son and not be sexually attracted to her.
Some pretty strange logic, right? Check out John's face, dude. Look at this man. He's going overboard.
We see the wisdom of the Prophet. Sahih Muslim, number 3597. It was narrated that Aisha said, among the things that were revealed of the Quran was that 10 definite breastfeeding.
So,
person a mahram, that is a relative.
Mahram means relative, and it's saying this is something in the Quran that'll make you into a mahram, so then you won't be attracted, right? And originally it was 10 definite breastfeedings, and for some reason was abrogated to go down to 5. So that's the official number. But it's not in the Quran, which we explain here.
That a woman has to be around a man, and she is not married to him, then she must breastfeed him 5 times.
So obviously this is bugged out, right? But it's funny, like, think about the logic, you know, like, it's super weird logic, if you could even call it that. I mean, it's just bizarre, but here you go.
Wondering why these are not in the Quran, and this brings us to Sunan Ibn Majah, number 1944. It was narrated that Aisha said, the verse of stoning and of breastfeeding an adult 10 times was revealed, and the paper was with me under my.
So now it's 10 times here, but remember the final one's supposed to be 5. And it's saying that that paper written with those Quranic verses was under Aisha's pillow. This is how the Quran was cared for, under his former child bride's pillow. Now she's, I think, an older woman by now, of course. I mean, I don't think I know. So she's speaking here, and it's like, wait, what? And a tame sheep came in and ate it. So David has dubbed this sheep gate, and instead of abrogation, this is digestion. Yeah, some of these Quranic verses are hard to swallow. Wah, wah, wah. But yo, this is bugged. Notice also the verse of the stoning. That's a whole other issue, but we won't get into that right now.
We were preoccupied with his death, and a tame sheep came in and ate it. So we see that these verses are not in the Quran today because they were eaten by Aisha's sheep. And yet, this was the wisdom of Allah, that if we three must be around you, what must we do? We must be breastfed by you.
I forgot that I did that. I'm making the sucky mouth face there. Watch this, everybody. Notice this.
What must we do? We must be breastfed by you, so that we will not be sexually attracted to you, accepted by you anymore. Do you understand this?
Yeah, they'll solve it every time, right? Now, check this out. She says muta muta, you know, right? Like, oh, well, okay, so like it, because it obviously sounds sexual, so that's why she says that. And then of course I wrote in there, you know, based upon her misunderstanding, no sucky. It's so messed up. But it's also funny, and the way David does it is funny. Now, a lot of you asked, why isn't John in the scene? Well, you know, even though he's doing all this now, I guess he's excited for us. He's going to live vicariously. Remember when we discussed earlier during the Fly episode that John's character, Jamal, has caught lactose intolerance? First of all, it's funny that we're acting like it's something that you could catch. You know, lactose intolerance is communicable. But also, a number of you have told us, well, that's only for animal milk. It doesn't count for human milk. Guys, come on. We're like the Three Stooges of Islam, right? We're not saying most Muslims are this way, but our characters are this way. So come on. So that's why John doesn't partake, because he's lactose intolerant. We didn't spell it out here, but it's the idea is you get to figure it out or watch these behind the scenes videos.
My sister.
Here we go. So it already begins funny. We start off basic, and the next thing he's wiping. That's gross. Her hands up in the air. I'm squishing around in my mouth. Now notice, yeah, he's got hair. I mean, this is just super gross, right? The whole thing. Notice the ISIS flag is up there. Here's the cup. This is the kind of cups we used. And there's the cookie dipping, of course. And he combs the beard, because remember he had that out earlier. We just decided to make a whole thing of it. Putting chocolate milk, and it comes up next. It's pretty good, right? The combing of the beard. He does it so slow. And then, oh yeah, Starbucks cup is next. So using the creamer for my coffee is the idea with that. You see the sources are in the back. That's something that Muslims do, if you're wondering what that is. And it's funny because he did it so serious in his hand. His finger stays up afterwards. Oh, look at that. A continuity error. I never noticed this. Watch this, guys. Some of the sources change positions. I never noticed that. So watch these two books, everyone. Oh, did you guys see that? It changed. It went to that book. Now it's going back. But I mean, hypothetically, those could have been moved as we were consulting the sources or something in between feedings. So it's not impossible, right? But anyways, you notice that. She really is there. You know, it was weird. We were really having to like hide behind her to make sure you couldn't see us. Then we had to come up at different angles. And we made sure we did it 5 times, right? So he would come this way, I would come that way, right? I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that in a second. There's the creamer. It's so gross if you think about it. But it's also hilarious, you know? The milk mustache. Yes, this is creamer, of course. People are like, that doesn't look like human milk. What do you expect? We're going to use real human milk? What's up with you guys? And some of you guys were like, well, that will only work if she's lactating. Yeah, I mean, you know, I don't know all the details of how that would be. This is the classic. This is it right here. We had a shower curtain down, by the way. I love when we both come up. And then we look over each other. Oh my gosh, it's so insane. Here it is. Cheers. This scene, getting that just right, took so many times for us to do it because we couldn't really look at each other. It took a long time to get that right. Look, David's looking down though. But I love we purposely spilled it all over. But like I said, we had a shower curtain down. Now, let me go back one more time because I want to explain something why this is playing. And then, yes, I'll answer your questions. I'm gonna break something down to you guys real quick, okay? Originally, David's idea for this scene, actually, let me just talk to you guys. David's original idea for this scene was just where we go into the bathroom where it's implied that she is, and then we walk out with like no mustaches or something like that. And we're like, and then the next person goes in and shuts the door. That was David's original idea. And I was like, usually I don't have a visual idea of how to do a scene. Usually that's John and David that have the visual idea of how to shoot the scene because that's not my strong suit as much. They're more gifted in that. Like there's one in the mosque coming up that was really done well. And, you know, those ideas are more their ideas. But this time I had the definitive idea. And I was like, no. That's not the way to do this scene. I was like, it was almost like a given. Like there's only one right way to do this scene. And it's like her back in front of the camera. And we keep on popping up at different angles. And I had this very distinct vision and image in my mind of little heads popping up at different times, almost like whack-a-mole, you know. And I just had this certain way that I thought about how it could be. And it's like, they were like, bro, that's a lot worse, but it's better. Okay. And it's funny because originally on a lot of these things, I was like, man, I don't know about this. And then once I was just like, started operating with reckless abandon, I was just like, you know what? If we're going to go all out, let's just go all out. And so then that's when the crazy ideas come. And David was kind of almost like, yo, it's like we set vocab loose, man. It's bad. You're worse than me. So anyways, that's kind of what was going on. Now I'm going to play this. And while I'm playing it, I'm actually going to look at some of your comments. Okay. I'm going to look at some of your comments and see what you guys, and I'm going to answer your questions before we get done here because we are winding down with today's live broadcast. So let me look at your questions while this is running, and let's try to answer some. Okay, guys? Sean asked, does the source really mean to take milk or just to suck the breast? I don't know. It says breastfeeding. I don't know how you can get feeding unless there's milk. Hey, that's pretty funny. 1414001. Maybe that boy from earlier should get breastfed by her, and then she can marry Giovanni, and then he will really be his son. That's pretty funny. That's a complicated, twisted way to look at it, but I like that. Do you have to have breast milk to do this? We didn't. This is just creamer. I don't know if we didn't have to have breast milk to do this. I don't know, though. The scene is X-rated. This isn't X-rated. This is PG-13. Is she really breastfeeding you? Are you serious? No, of course she's not. She has a full burqa on. Wong Lee, you better be good. You got timed out. Yes, Christian, my choice. There are other verses that are removed from the Quran. You guys like that thing thrown in there? Okay. Someone says, but according to narration, it's breastfeeding. A cup should not be used. Bright idea 123. Yo, check it out. Check it out. We're gonna do gags. This is satire. We're reading the sources so you know what it says, but then we're just having fun with it at that point, you know? Yeah, why does adoption not count to make someone else a relative, but breastfeeding them does? Again, good point. You're starting to see the illogic. I could see how you guys started fantasizing while Dennis is reading. Yeah, that was the point. Even though it's weird if you think about it, she's so fully covered. What exactly is there to fantasize, you know? Do you have alternate endings? We do not have alternate endings, Brian M. However, there's an alternate ending or alternate towards the end that was originally thought of that we changed. And part of it has to do actually with Robert Spencer. And if you go on David's blog and stuff, you guys can see they basically took a vote because at one point there's a part where we considered killing off Robert Spencer's character, but it got voted to where that would not happen. I'll get more into that later. There's some other alternate storylines that didn't materialize. I'll get into those later in future broadcasts. All right, so those are good questions. So check this out. Yes, we know that lactose intolerance doesn't apply to breast milk, but remember, our characters also think that you can catch lactose intolerance as if it's communicable. So these are our characters. So they think lactose intolerance would apply to any milk. You guys got to understand, like, these are like the Three Stooges. Like, Dennis is clearly Mo. John is probably Curly. I don't know. Or no. Yeah, maybe. And I guess I'm Larry, I guess. I don't know exactly. That's what it maybe seems like. But you guys are funny. Like, some of the comments, you guys, like, I don't know. You guys just cracked me up with some of this. So check this out. I'm going to go live again tomorrow, and I'm going to try to do it around the same time. So let me check my calendar. Actually, do you guys have a time that you would prefer me to go live? I'm aiming for 2 o'clock my time, maybe. No. You know what? I think I'm going to, you know what I want to do for you guys? I want to get the person who played Marco, aka my son. I want to interview him for you. What do you guys think of that? So I'm going to go live tomorrow, but it probably will need to be a little bit later tomorrow because I need to interview him when he's here, although I could pre-record him. Just look for tomorrow. I'm going to try and have some interviews with the person who played Marco and talk to him. It'll be fun to interview my son on this. You know, little kids are always cute on camera. You don't know what they're going to say. I'll either do some pre-records or I might go live with them, but probably around 2 o'clock my time, which is 5 o'clock East Coast time. I may do it later, like as late as 5 o'clock my time, which is 8 o'clock East Coast time. I'm still working all that out, but sometime between those hours, I'm going to go live tomorrow. I'll make an announcement on social media, but unless something happens, you know, whatever, I'm going to go live and I'm going to have some interviews with the Marco character here. And I'm also working on getting an interview with the pimp daddy, Hodilla, who did the slapping. So we're going to have some live guests on these live things or interviews that I'll include in there. So fun times, good stuff. You guys are a great audience. Remember, you're the first to know about Patreon. Tomorrow I'm gonna officially announce it. Vocab will have some outtakes tomorrow as well. Good. It's 3:12 a.m. Where are you from? Wow. 1 hour earlier, Europe. Man. You guys, look at this. Only if you give him his shoes back. You guys are funny. Yes, our characters are dim-witted, to say the least. But we're so sincere. All right, so with that, it's really great to talk to you guys. I'm going to end this right now. And remember, Patreon is live, and I'll be tinkering around with it a little bit. I'm waiting for you guys to get feedback on Patreon. It's brand new for me. Never done anything like it, but people have encouraged me to do it. So it's live, and we'll figure it out. Let's join this team. Let's make this happen. I will see you tomorrow. And with that,